So well, we had to kind of wait around for that. And the day he came, everybody was all smiles because nobody was complaining. Nobody was complaining about, well, instead of a 6-day shoot, it might be a 9 or 10-day shoot. Who cares? Hooray! You know, it's all good. So anyway, before the questions, I got to tell you a few other little things here that are popping into my head about the episode. When I would talk to Mark, he would ask me, well, think about the episode or watch the episode and tell me interesting stories about the episode. He had witnessed something in the episode that he couldn't quite figure out, because when Mr. Hasselhoff pushed me against that door and I turned around and hit that door and then turned around, I had blood all over my face. Now, that's an easy thing for makeup people and special effects people to do, you know, if they wanted to put a little thing on the door. But it would be a tedious little process to make sure it worked right. But we didn't have to do it that way. All we had to do was get a door that was completely rusted. It was a rusted metal door that had probably been opened, and because this was a real marine shop. So they went in there and painted stuff, and I'm sure they opened that door to air the paint room out. I think that's what they did in that room, paint boats and stuff like that. And I'm sure that they left that door open, that steel door, open during big rainstorms, because it was all rusted. I mean, you put your hand on it and go like that, and it would be like rust everywhere. So I didn't really realize what was going to happen, but when he shoved me into that door and my face hit that, oh my God, it hurt like hell. It really did, you know. And I turned around and there was that blood there. That was my blood. That was my blood. And he spotted that. He spotted that and realized that, you know, that I had hurt myself. And to this day, if you look real close, there is something under the skin there. It's probably a piece of that door, rust. Taken out. And of course, after that scene was over, they put me in a van and took me to the clinic at Universal, and they gave me a tetanus shot. There's another story of the first scene that we shot together, that Jeff and I shot together, was the hospital scene. And then after that hospital scene, we did all this other work. Well, during this other work, I was thinking, and I was talking to the director, and I called him Rick. His real name is... No, it's a German name.
Winrick.
For some reason, I just called him Rick. But anyway, we talked. Well, we talked because we can make more of that scene. Let's do that again. And so we were planning on doing it, but it never worked out. But he knew that we had put that set back together on the stage because he had the call sheets from everything. He knows more about the show than I did when I was doing the show. So, and all of you probably do, but because I'm just interested in my little part. But what's interesting is being able to retrieve all that stuff from all of those shows. And we're just talking about one show on television, and my little part was one little episode. But it does not mean that I did all these television shows, but each one of them is so special and is branded in my brain because it was such a big deal when you were with a group of people, like 10 people, and you were competing for a role, and then the next day you would be with 5 different people, and sometimes there would be a third day where you'd have a third call back and you'd be down to 2 people. And all of a sudden, when you get the role, it's like you won $1 million. I mean, it's like, oh my God, I can pay my mortgage. We can eat better, you know. So, so you know, you don't forget any of the shows. The only time you forget the shows is when you're doing so many of them but I savor every one of them. You know, Highway to Heaven or all those shows. But the Night Rider was very special because of just how popular it was and being in that episode and hearing about that episode over the years. And so, you know, I'm thrilled to be here. Now I'm going to ask, do you have any questions for me?
AJ, come on.
Sure. Well, you know, I wanted to, you talked about being a part of one little episode in one show.
Right.
But that's still a huge thing. And I should point out that from a lot of fans' perspective,
Right.
that the episode you just happened to be in
Right.
is actually the favorite of so many fans for that entire series. So if you were going to be in one episode of one show, my friend, you picked the right one. And I know that's not a question, but I just thought I'd
How often I saw where I should be going only by setting up for somewhere else, and all of a sudden the universe, you know,
there you
was
go.
kind to me. I tell you how, I tried this once. I had a girlfriend. This is about magic and weird things that happen and what a person is willing to do to create magic in their life. Some people go to church, you know. Some people pray, you know, kneel and, you know, Mecca, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I was in California, a lot of New Age stuff going on out there, you know, isolation tanks, John Lilly's kind of stuff, right? You know, studying dolphins and talking to dolphins. And have anybody ever heard of an isolation tank?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And you float in it, and it's very dark, and it's 98.6 degrees, and it's real quiet, and all of a sudden you hear this boom, 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 boom. And then if you lie there and let your mind go, you start to hallucinate in this world. And John, so I did that. Somebody gave me, this girl I went with, she was a psychic. Yeah. A good psychic, you know, people paid her to talk to dead people. You know, like Seth and all those kind of things. Only in California you have so much of that, you know. Colonics. You know, all of that kind of stuff. Acupuncture. I mean, I had acupuncture treatments there, and my union paid for them. But anyway, the luck of having any luck of being in the right place at the right time and being able to, you know, suit up and show up and do the show or whatever. So I've had a lot of those lucky breaks, but this is this area I'm going to go off and tell you how ridiculous I have been willing to go ahead and have this magic from the universe. Brian Greene, who is a new guru of physics now, talks about the universe and the 11 dimensions and wormholes and strings.